Hi, it's Zorbo975 and welcome to Elite Dangerous on the Legacy version of the game. And I've been playing in Open since the preview program, and I can tell you that over the years many people have tried to establish rules for the open environment and PvP behaviour and various agreements and things like that. You can actually still watch some of the round table meetings they had about it on Zamarco's channel between the major player groups back at the game's height, and no one ever agreed on anything. Nothing was set on stone. Now I will say, if you're a new player to the game, before picking the open experience you need to be aware of a few things. There are two modes that were pretty much PvE, solo and private group. Now solo obviously is just you, then private group is you and anyone you invite into your private group. So obviously you can get PvP if you invite the wrong people in, but you know, with caution and inviting the right people in, you'll be a PvP environment where it's just cooperative. Now then you get to open. Now open is gloves off, Elite Dangerous, how the developers intended. Now that means if someone attacks you, and even if you perceive there is no reason for the attack, that's tough. That's how it happens. Now, is that griefing or ganking? I would argue no, it's just someone attacking you. Griefing or ganking is a bit more than just someone attacking you and killing you in a game. You know, it takes a certain amount of combined amount of people or unfair advantage to be turned into griefing or ganking. For example, if you were hunted down day after day by a large group of people, that could be considered ganking or griefing. But to be killed randomly by murder hobos, that's not really. They're not using any unfair advantage. You know, as long as they're not like gang killing you 8-on-1 every 5 minutes, it's just being attacked in a video game. And the only rule in Open, the only rule that FDev support, is no cheating. And the only cheating you can do on Xbox is combat logging. There is no programs you can download to make your ship stronger or anything like that. So as long as you don't combat log, you're all good. Job done. You've achieved the base etiquette for Elite Dangerous in Open. Don't cheat. It's not that high a bar we set. In the background you're just watching footage of myself, Scooby and Al crashing into each other and lighting up NPCs like discos, because we're all in a res site. Oh no, we're in a conflict zone, just blasting away at NPCs. And yeah, I got pulses and cannons. I think there's pulses, and I think Al's got beams. So there's a lot of blinky lights going on. Now, as I was saying, the only hard and fast rule is don't cheat. That's it. It's really not that difficult. There are a few things that people consider to be like conventions, and we'll go into them one at a time. For the most serious one is, people get very funny about if you use a fighter during PvP. The reason being, the fighter doesn't cause any lag for you, but it does for your opponent, which gives you a massively unfair advantage. It's very frowned upon in PvP. There are people that will argue it's in the game and they're free to use it. However, it won't get you the best of reputations. Similarly, Primo Ammo, again, something that's in the game, and some people will argue it's in the game, I'm free to use it. However, in the PvP circles, it's kind of frowned upon. And my attitude towards Primo has always been, if you use it and you're honest about it, I couldn't give a monkey's, because if you're honest about it, I can choose whether I fight you or not. If you constantly tell me you're not using Primo when you are, and I can tell you are, or I see video footage that you are, I'm like, that's low. That's really scummy. You know, as long as people are honest, I don't give monkeys. Healy beams, people frown upon Healy beams in PvP, and it's one of those things we don't use in the Dark Marauders, but you know, we're pirates, it doesn't really help us. But some people use Healy beams in PvP. Healy beams are great in PvP, PvE. Well, they're great in PvP as well in the right circumstances, but it's heavily frowned upon. It's one of those things. And again, some people will argue it's in the game, you're free to use it. And there has been no hard and fast convention on that. Like I say, the only thing that's set in stone by the developers is don't cheat. So as long as you meet that very low bar of not cheating, welcome to Open. Now if you can't meet that low bar of not cheating, I would recommend you play a different mode, because maybe open is too fraught for you. I don't know why, because it's just a game and all you stand to lose is pixels, but some people out there can't cope with the loss of pixels. The cost of a rebuy is never that much, unless you're like an explorer on a 9-month trip out in the black and you come back and get killed outside the station by someone ramming you to death. That's unfortunate, but then, you know, maybe don't go to a busy system when you're handing your data, or maybe get an escort. I've always erred on the side of caution and got an escort. Anyway, just going to take an hour break and we'll be back in a minute. So we're going to take a pause to take a quick look at what you guys sponsor. With your guys' views, you help out Big Red Rooster Cockerel Rescue, helping out cocks of all sizes, all shapes, and for the love of the cock, keep watching so we can raise money for this lovely little animal rescue and save birds like my little co-pilot here. Now, one of the things that's kind of like a convention on PC amongst certain groups that never really made it over to Xbox was the ghosting thing. Now, this is one that I actually would like to have seen brought in, where if you're pushed out of a fight or you die in a fight, you don't then come back into it, like just spawn at the station and then fly straight back to the fight. Or if you're pushed out in a cutter, say, you don't just go up into Super Cruise, drop down, reboot and repair, get half your shields back and then come back in. Because let's face it, if you've ever been in a PvP fight with a wing of cutters, you know how long it takes to drive one of those out, and it's really disheartening when they drop back in with 50% shields and you're like, really? We just pushed you out. Now, the reason why this was voiced as a thing and why people moan about people ghosting is because if people ghost back into a fight, it just goes on and on and on. Oddly, some of my favourite fights have been the worst examples of ghosting, because when we used to fight IED, they would ghost all the time, and the Dark Marauders policy has always been we do whatever the opponent does. So if they don't, we don't. When we used to fight NTFS, if they didn't ghost back in, we wouldn't ghost back in, and they generally didn't. But if we fought IED, they ghosted back in, so we ghosted back in, and you ended up with these like ridiculous fights that went on an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours. The night me and Frodo raided IED space is still one of my favourite nights, but those instances lasted anywhere up to an hour and 45 minutes. It's absolutely ludicrous. Ships just dropping in again and again and again and again. You're like, haven't I killed this guy like once already? Oh, let's kill him again. It's kind of fun, but it's kind of silly, and the fight never ends and that sort of thing. IED used to be I think one of the reasons why IED used to rely upon it was a guaranteed victory for them, because they had greater numbers, they flew a lot of cutters, and if you were criminals, you'd generally end up in a detention centre far away, whereas they would just respawn at the station and be able to get back in the fight quickly. So generally it gave them an advantage, and they generally wangled winning instances even though they lost a lot more ships. They were like, we dominated the instance. Okay. So then they got annoyed because groups tended to take the policy of kill one and jump out and then declare victory. Because what else are you going to do against that? It's pointless engaging in it unless you've got 2 hours to spend cycling back into a fight over and over and over again. So yeah, just kill someone and run away. That strategy really annoyed them, and then it became arguments. But yeah, ghosting is something that some people may frown upon. Obviously, like, all of this stuff is, apart from the combat logging thing, it's just people's like etiquette and agreements. Now, if you do get caught combat logging, you do get caught cheating, the general etiquette in that situation is to contact the person that you combat logged on, apologise and offer to make amends. Now, that'll either be a 1v1 fight, or you offer the guy the rebuy. If you combat logged on like 10% hull, it's only fair you let them kill you. That's the etiquette. Recently I was in a party of people that were like, oh my god, I can't believe this, I'm a grown adult, I can log out if I want to, and all the rest of it. They were justifying cheating based on the fact that they believed if they thought the person was a ganker or a griefer, they were free to combat log on them. And they didn't believe they were in combat if they didn't shoot back, which is one of the most ridiculous arguments I've ever heard, because I played as a pacifist trader for 3 years. I was in combat constantly. It's part of the fun of being a trader in Elite Dangerous, is you're constantly under attack by people and you've got to get around them to get to your deliveries. that was the fun. To me, that was the juice of the game. The whole MMO experience is what I play this game for. You know, I love trying to evade people attacking me. You know, I was never begrudging when someone actually got a kill on me. I'd always just ask them for their point of view of it. But then, you know, maybe times are different. Maybe some people can't handle just dying in a video game. It's very weird. I mean, my point of view now as a pirate is very different, because obviously everything's... Yeah, I mean, everything's better with pirates. I mean, the thing is, in the Dark Marauders, we have strict rules. We don't cheat. We don't use Healy Beams. You don't use Primo. You know, none of these things that people don't like, we don't use. But ultimately, it's down to you and your decisions. Like I say, apart from the don't cheat thing, everything else is like an etiquette guideline thing. And that's up to you. I'm not going to make a decision for you. But, you know, if you want a stellar reputation, maybe stay clear of those things. As to like cheating, if you're going to cheat, why not just choose private group or solo, where you're safe from the people that you don't want attacking you. If you can't stand losing your ship, if you can't take being attacked for what you see as no reason, then go play a different mode. The other two modes are PvE only. It boggles the mind. People say, oh, like, well, I'm trolling the gankers. No, you're just trolling yourself, because you're the one cheating, breaking terms of service and looking like a coward, whereas all they're doing is playing the game legitimately. Anyway, that's all. Thank you very much for watching.